Here's the thing. If they get Zyra and Ashe through back to Cloud9, I feel like they're going to pick them with their 2 first picks on the red side. But that means that effectively Cloud9 has to leave something up for Fnatic that is worth Fnatic picking over Zyra. Because Zyra's been such a contested pick this entire World Championships. She's the most played and also has a very high win rate in a lot of these games. Plus, in the North American Regionals, it was LemonNation's #1 support. And so much of Cloud9's strategies revolve around Zyra and Ashe, and since neither of those champions are banned so far, I'm actually kind of thinking something's going through with that. But with that being said, if Fnatic plays this smart, they could actually get an Ahri or a Zed with their first pick if they don't ban one of them here.
And you know, it's something that we've seen from Cloud9 all the way through. They're so researched coming into this one. Their picks and bans have actually been going pretty quick here.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about what do we think Fnatic would have as first pick, because we knew they were the blue side. Aatrox actually is something I thought they probably would have gone for, but was banned out. So clever scouting coming out from Cloud9. Orianna and Ahri being the final bans from Cloud9. So all of those mid laners being targeted. So
much targeting. At the same time as Peke's pool getting attacked, I feel like High's champion pool is getting attacked a little bit harder. The fact that the Zed and the Ahri ban came down right at the start, it really limits the champions that High can even think about playing. And a first pick, Kassadin. This is Fnatic saying they don't respect High's ability in mid lane, because normally Peke waits for that Kassadin pick very late. Oftentimes the European metagame later on in the season started evolving to last picking your mid, but Fnatic just going right away with Kassadin, who they've won so many games with, and saying there's enough mids banned that they're not fearing anything from Cloud9.
Kassadin had become a standard ban in Europe throughout the summer, because you got Alex Ich, which we've already seen. We've seen Peke on it. Bjergsen, who is right behind me. There's so many champions in that mid lane that are so strong on Kassadin, so I'm no surprise that. It's definitely slowed things down. What do we think, though? Do we think we're going to see the Zyra Ashe combo?
That's my guess right now, because there's so much banned against. That's not even close.
Didn't even think of Shen.
Not even close.
Shen's been taken out of this for so long. We didn't even realize that, of course, he was left open. And Elise in there. That's going to be for Meteos.
So at the same time, if they wouldn't have picked Shen there, they would have given Fnatic Shen Kassadin, which would have allowed sOAZ and Peke to really pull off their combo plays that they like to do, catching 2 people off guard. Wow. Well, this is very interesting right now. sOAZ hates playing Shen, but Balls actually doesn't like playing Shen that much either. No. Both those guys are extremely...
They want to be aggressive.
They want to be aggressive and fight, but at the same time, they respect the power of Shen right now. 100% pick ban throughout the World Championships. Him and Zed are the 2 champions that fit into that. And of course, Fnatic will take away Zyra from Cloud9 after this. Yeah.
Zyra Corki being picked in, so it is the combo. It's obviously, Corki's definitely become into it this tournament. We saw the exact same combo up against Samsung Ozone to great effect from Fnatic.
Yeah, and I'm curious whether Cloud9's been caught off guard by this, because they run through typically so many pick and ban scenarios, and when I was watching the North American Regionals, their picks were almost instantaneous. Right after the enemy did, they do them right away. But at this point, this is the longest I've almost ever seen Cloud9 take in the pick and ban phase, knowing that, you know, the Shen and Elise are very core Cloud9 picks, absolutely. But with Zyra being taken away from them, I really expect them to have a priority on that. The next priority for LemonNation typically is Thresh at this point, but I don't know if he feels safe with that in this team composition. And High at the same time doesn't have anything left that we know of.
We talked about the experience, obviously, in the pre-show, the analysis. Guys were talking about how experienced they are. This is Cloud9's biggest ever game, whereas Fnatic, they're the Season 1 champions. Gragas and Sona, though, getting selected for Cloud9. Took a lot of deliberation over that one.
It really did. And if I'm thinking about the LemonNation tier list of supports that I've seen them play, it generally goes Zyra, Thresh, and Sona's down at 3 or 4. So them picking it here and then picking Gragas, which is... High's never played Gragas here in competitive as far as I know. They're a little bit off their game, where if we look at Fnatic, their picks are very Fnatic-esque right now. They could still go with pretty much whatever they want. Maybe they could go York in the top lane, to please you. It is something that sOAZ has played in the past. A couple of his champions have been taken away as well.
It's the one game they lost. They picked Yorick. And I've already talked to sOAZ about it, and he was like, no, it was not Yorick. But instead, everybody else was like, no, it really was. But we could see sOAZ going with Lissandra in the top lane. It's a champion he's played a number of times. Cyanide certainly on Jarvan, very comfortable champion. So this could be all-round very comfortable picks for Fnatic, and it is.
Fnatic's picked their pretty standard double AP composition with a Jarvan jungle. This is going to allow them to play their play style. They have 2 effective roaming assassins right there, or type of roaming assassins. Peke and sOAZ both on AP. Peke is going to be teleport Kassadin. All the things we talked about for Fnatic that they were so successful on a group stage are coming up right here against Cloud9. I mean, if Cloud9's ready for it, then they're going to be ready for it, because this is exactly what Fnatic loves playing the most.
Well, and the question is whether Cloud9 have pulled something out, whether this is a secret strategy they've been working on just for this matchup, because sometimes they backfire quite horribly.
Oftentimes. I mean, we got to keep in mind, Cloud9 only lost 3 games.
Yes.
Since they joined the
in
LCS,
North America,
including the playoffs. In North America, Fnatic lost a heck of a lot more over in Europe as well.
They did.
So it's been a wide open thing. We do not know what's going to happen in this game. I look at the Cloud9 composition. Everything is standard except for the Gragas. It's a complete unknown for High. Well, as we wait for the game to start, let's check out what you guys at home think is going to be the first team to win their way into the semi-finals. According to lolesports.com, 55% of you believe in apple pie. It is Cloud9 winning the vote. Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm too surprised. A lot of the Cloud9 fans are really hoping right now against Fnatic. And the vote definitely reflects most feelings on this game, because even though we had analysts going 3-1, a lot of the other people backstage were saying Cloud9. There's a lot of nationalism riding on this game as well, because pretty much anyone I talk to that is from the European region says Fnatic. Well, you've got USA chance, so what do you expect? We are in America after all, so not surprising that Cloud9 are the favorites. It does surprise me that obviously the European fans will be wide awake. It's 9 o'clock in mainland Europe right now, so you guys all at home haven't been voting strong enough. The North America have been kicking your ass online, it seems. Let's see whether they can do it on the Rift. That's the question. What do we think here, Jack? Coming into this game, we've seen Fnatic with a comfortable setup, a comfortable lineup. Cloud9 changing, adjusting, coming into their biggest ever game of their lives. Well, here's the huge thing. Fnatic's actually went with the double teleport in both of their solo lanes, which for Cloud9 might actually work to Cloud9's benefit if they can avoid getting the teleport kills, because Meteos' style as a jungler is heavy farming. And in order to play that style without it backfiring, your lanes need to be able to hold their own. The fact that Cloud9's lanes are both laning against people with teleport means that they are put in a more advantageous situation in the laning phase alone. And Cloud9 excels by forcing mid-game teamfights in most of their victories. If they can actually force a mid-game 5v5 near Fnatic, once again, those teleports won't be coming into play. So really, I think the early and mid-game is going to hinge completely on Fnatic's use of teleport and whether or not Cloud9 can avoid those surprise attacks. Well, we'll see how it works out with that double teleport combination. Fnatic certainly going to be mobile around that map. sOAZ getting down, and Cloud9 going for this blue buff invade. They're a little bit early, so whether it's just going to be a ward plant or whether they're going to stick around. Yellowstar just off to the side there. Got to be careful he doesn't get caught out. Just managed to get caught with a volley. He's kind of pinned down a position now. They see him. They know that he's pinned. They're going to force his flash here, surely. This is Yellowstar putting himself in a bad situation early on in the game. Cloud9 just brute forcing their way in there. Yes, they had the threat of the ball's taunt, but really Yellowstar just took a wrong turn. Absolutely, completely caught out. So flash down. Expect to see Meteos maybe making a return to his lane to see if he can pick himself up an easy plant on that bottom. Cyanide and sOAZ lay in wait, and look at this. Cloud9 are not done yet. They're making a return attack, but this time they don't have everybody. Fnatic is closing in around them. This is a very dangerous invade by Cloud9 because they are outnumbered and they don't immediately get the buff either. High getting caught out there. A lot of damage going down on him. Ignite was burned, but he will survive, and that means Fnatic just off at the side there will be able to take that blue buff away. It is going to delay Meteos for a while because he's only going across to his red buff now, so Cyanide got the jump on him in the jungle. Yeah, I gotta say, not the best start by Cloud9 right now. Sneaky is getting a little bit of experience in this lane before Fnatic can get there, but even though sOAZ was there to support, he just got his teleport right down into the bottom lane, so lane advantage-wise, Fnatic didn't lose much for that, but jungle speed-wise, Meteos actually lost a fair bit, and so much of Meteos' game revolves around him getting an experience advantage over the enemy jungler, so that when they fight, Meteos always comes out ahead, and Cyanide, if he just sticks to farming, will have that edge on Meteos. So now that the lanes have switched around, Ball's putting a lot of damage down on sOAZ, using that Ignite early on, making sure he gets a good chunk of damage down. That's going to put Balls a little bit in the lead in that lane. Peke, of course, up against Gragas here in the form of High as well in the mid lane, but it's the top I want to talk about. Sneaky and LemonNation up against Puszu and Yellowstar. They've both chosen to go for this lane. Who has the edge early on? Early on, I think the edge goes to Sneaky. He can outrange Puszu with those volleys. Not to mention, since Sneaky was in the lane first, he will have the level advantage until he goes back to base or until a gank comes into that lane. Cloud9 will look to stay pushed up in this lane. And this actually is a point of danger for Cloud9, because all throughout the LCS, I'd say the lane that died the most for them was Sneaky and LemonNation, especially when they're on Ashe, because they love to push up. And generally, LemonNation does not pink ward very frequently, so they're almost drawing attention to themselves to get killed or to draw pressure up there. And knowing that Fnatic is with a double teleport and knowing they love to go and make plays like that, I see that as a large vulnerability right now for Cloud9 in that lane.
Well, we did see Hai going back very early on here. You can see he's obviously fell behind in that CS because he did that, because he wanted to get that ward placement just down there, along with that Fairy Charm he picked up. So missing out a bit just to make sure that ward, it's a very important ward for him. He doesn't want to get ganked by Cyanide. And
I think this is the mismatch in this matchup between Hai and xPeke. Knowing that xPeke would just first pick a Kassadin into anything Hai has to offer, Hai pulling out the Gragas, but then having to burn his flash at level 1 is not beneficial.
Aggression coming out in the top lane, Yellowstar trying to get those grasping roots down, not working out for him. No flashes were burnt from Cloud9. They've still got all those summoners, and it does mean that Cyanide effectively in that top, maybe wasting his time. He's sticking around still.
That's the moment where Meteos is just going to immediately go to trying to steal away Cyanide's experience in the jungle. A failed gank in the top lane. Cyanide was not creative with that. They were banking entirely on Yellowstar's ability to land a grasping roots, and Cloud9 was actually keeping their distance there. So a successful counter jungle and gank avoidance by Cloud9 up top and in the jungle.
Peke missing some serious farm there. Missed out on the siege minion as well. So missing a lot of gold and actually very low on mana. Meteos gone unseen so far on sOAZ. He is very deep. He's got a good escape.
Gank, though.
Shadow Dash Storm is already used there. He might be able to slide away from this one. There he goes. The repel will follow from Meteos, but I don't think they've got enough damage on this one. The Cocoon comes in. Has he got enough burst? That's the question. He may do, but not going to happen. It wasn't followed up by balls.
And it'll be interesting to see what Cloud9 does with this lane here, whether they freeze it or if Meteos tries to push it up with balls, because they have backed sOAZ off from the lane. And it does look like they're going to push up. Cloud9 shares experience almost more than any other team when Meteos is in the game. He loves to get the edge on the enemy jungler by taking a little bit of lane experience for himself after ganks.
Peke using that teleport back into the mid lane, gets those double Doran's rings on that first back, which is going to put him in slightly advantageous position over Hai. Hai already backing off as well, gets himself a second Doran's ring along with yet another ward. So he's putting a lot of investment in those ward coverage, making sure that Cyanide doesn't pay him a visit.
And we mentioned earlier the potential early threat of the Fnatic teleports into lane, but as of yet, they have used both of their teleports only to return to their respective lanes. So at the moment, if Cloud9 is tracking the teleports properly, they will know that Sneaky and LemonNation have no immediate fear of a teleport game coming into their lanes. But Lissandra's teleport with sOAZ will be up soon, and I actually feel like at this point in the game, that's the more lethal of the teleports.
So the AD carries have had their first backs, and we have a difference finally coming out. Sneaky going for a pickaxe.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to get that little edge on Puszu as far as trading damage, and also Sneaky can choose in this game whether he goes, I've seen him do triple Dorans or I've seen him rush an Infinity Edge. It really depends on how safe he feels in the current environment of the game. I'm actually surprised he went with the pickaxe in this situation, because there's going to be so much damage diving on him, especially with the way Fnatic loves to dogpile.
This is going to be LemonNation getting caught out. First blood will come in, and it is going to be an easy execution by Fnatic.
Yeah, and that's Fnatic just using the positioning smartly for them. They knew that Cloud9 had ran out of wards in the area, and they caught LemonNation in a rotation to try and get those wards down. It's another one of those surprising Fnatic rotations, and now Sneaky's got to be very scared up here, because 1v3 as a level 5 Ashe with only one Doran's Blade, he cannot sit at that turret.
Peke also putting damage down on Hai. He has got that Riftwalk available, so could continue to go aggressive. Remember, Hai does have that explosive cast to try and keep him away. That burst damage onto Hai. He only needs one more Riftwalk and a Force Pulse, and he will go down, that's for sure. So Hai needs to be very cautious in this situation. Obviously, that is why we're sticking that camera on him right now. Despite the fact it was a 3v1 in the jungle, we see Meteos. He's got a visitor. It is Cyanide. There's a ping ward there, though. So Cyanide trying to get the steal. Not going to happen.
So you can actually see, at least as far as Meteos and Cyanide go, that Meteos is pulling an advantage over Cyanide. But I have to say Cyanide has done more for his team overall. The amount of pressure that Cyanide was able to put on that top lane just by catching LemonNation in that one gang path is the difference in this game as far as gold is concerned.
I am still concerned for High in that mid lane. He's
Absolutely
behind on farm against the Kassadin. The Kassadin is a slow farmer at the start.
This is true, but Kassadin generally holds weaknesses over ranged mid laners. But Gragas is very similar to Kassadin in the way that they lane. They're both melees, so Peke is actually not denied farm in that matchup. Gragas is not necessarily a counter pick to Kassadin as much as he is someone who can try and track him down roam-wise.
Yeah, and you can see High trying to go a little bit aggressive there, just riff walk straight away. Wasn't going for the kill, I don't feel that. Didn't use that ignite, had no reason to go for it, simply just shoving him out of lane, which is exactly what he's doing, making sure Peke loses as much farm as possible. Lane switches also coming in. We see sOAZ.
Yeah, the reason that High went into the turret to harass Peke back there is because Cloud9 wanted to go for the dragon, but they do have to fear the teleport of sOAZ. They would still outnumber them. Depends how fast they can get this dragon out and whether they can secure the smite.
We're going to see Cyanide sliding in there, and wisely meets Cloud9 do back off the Ashe arrow, catching onto a
stun chain!
Locked up, stunned up, and now Yellowstar's in trouble as well. Pushu trying to escape. Coming round the backside is High, so he's going to keep this chasing on this one. He's gone for Yellowstar instead, but really they could have focused on Pushu and kept him focused down.
Cloud9 and Meteos specifically knew exactly how much damage he could burst on the dragon. The team was laser focused in when they stopped damaging the dragon. They waited for Cyanide to come in, they waited on the cooldown of Meteos' bite, they spiked them together, and then they chained their CC well because Cyanide was planning on going in for the steal and flashing out, but they hit him with an arrow into a cocoon and it bursted him down. That was brilliant play by Cloud9 at Dragon.
So let's have a look across the board. What is happening? sOAZ and Ball's in this top lane. Ball's gone for that magic resist, as you would expect with the Negatron's Globe. He's up against Lissandra in lane. sOAZ himself went for the double Dorans and an Amptoman. Pushu and Yellowstar, they've had a fairly relaxing time of it. We do see Sneaky heading, just edging him out in terms of farm, 76 to 69. Also got that assist, which puts him 20 gold ahead. It's not a great deal over that kill that Pushu had.
And the lanes haven't been getting pushed that much either. These teams are really trying to trade farm as much as possible, and if we keep tracking the builds from Cloud9, magic resist is absolutely paramount, because if we look at Fnatic, not only do they have a double AP as far as their solo lanes are concerned, but Corki does more magic damage to champions than physical damage in pretty much every game he is involved in. So with the early Chalice of Harmony from High and the early Negatron Cloak from Balls most likely going into a Spirit Visage, there could be a large amount of defense that Fnatic has trouble blowing through if Cloud9 can pull a bit of an edge. Well,
Pushu's got to be a little bit careful here, getting caught out by the slow arrows. LemonNation keeping pressure on him as well. Just getting a little bit greedy there, I feel, Pushu, trying to get some of that extra farm.
And Cloud9 never has the best ward control in the bottom lane. LemonNation generally doesn't go for heavy pink wards. And you can tell Cyanide is trying to capitalize on that. He was just there a second ago, but he's backing off because they don't think Cloud9's going to commit, as they are not.
Well, instead, Pushu is going to get himself a lot of free farm. He went back and got himself the Phage early on, so Trinity Force will be built by Pushu. And still waiting to see what Sneaky's going to expand that pickaxe into, whether it's going to be an Infinity Edge coming out early, whether he'll maybe even turn it into a Last Whisper, who knows. Peke, who waiting for that barrel to explode. He's like, nope, nope, you're not going to steal this experience. I will take the gold. So delicate process between these two, and you can tell how nervous this game is between them. It's just a 1,000 gold difference right now. Both got a killer piece, and still everybody playing really cautiously.
Absolutely, and I feel like when people were trying to predict these matchups, the High versus Peke matchup was the most important. People were thinking Peke was going to stomp all over High. So far, High is mostly holding his own, but the danger, of course, is Peke's mid-game Kassadin. When we've seen him on Kassadin, it only takes one good fight for Peke, and he will just steamroll over the rest of the game. Cloud9 needs to be incredibly cautious not to let that happen.
Yeah, they've got to make sure he doesn't start getting those kills going. At the moment, we do see Cloud9 3-manning it down this bottom lane, keeping the pressure on Yellowstar and Pushu. They're going to have a call out towards Cyanide. We already see him trekking down here. They're worried that there's going to be a push, and no early tower dives at all, really, from either of these teams. Cloud9 keeping that pressure down, though.
Cloud9's got to be really careful with this push, because there's a ward behind them, and both solo laners on Fnatic have their teleports up. So any type of dive would be rather bold.
Yeah, they could turn this into a very big fight. Don't forget Stand United for Balls as well. We could suddenly have a 5-man pile-on in the bottom as we saw High and Peke trekking the way around that river. But High, he's going to try and sneak around the side. Peke does have a ward in that bush, so wasn't going to fall for it. They have good coverage on Cyanide, though. You can see that ward over by the Wraiths. They're keeping track of him.
And that's actually a really good thing to mention, D-Man, is the overall tension in this game, knowing that effectively everyone can appear on fights from almost nowhere. Because Balls is Shen, his stand United can generally join the rest of Cloud9. Hai, as far as mid laners go, even though he doesn't have teleport, can get around the map almost faster than any other champion with the low cooldown of body slam as he's moving between lanes. So those bottom lane 3v2 pushes can extremely quickly turn into 5v5 brawls. And I think that's one of the reasons these teams are poking at each other so cautiously, because they're almost waiting for the other team to commit 5 so that they can back away and then push the other lanes. This is very rare, actually, that we're 14 minutes into a game with no turrets having fallen.
Yes, you can tell the tension building. We do see Sneaky's going towards that Infinity Edge with that BF sword. Puszu also going towards that Trinity Force gun himself. The Sheen completed now, as well as heading towards that Zeal. The mid laners, we see Peke. He's gone back and got that Catalyst now. So stacking out that mana pool. Meanwhile, the Fiendish Codex has just been picked up by Hai, so...
Those have kind of been the magic items for Peke on Kassadin. Once he gets that much mana pool, he just uses it for his positioning with his Rift Walk and pulls off some impressive fights. I just wonder, with this next Dragon coming up in 50 seconds, if Fnatic going to try and contest it, because Cloud9 has kind of made their mark on destroying mid-game Dragon fights with extreme coordination.
I feel like Hai was trying to bait that Rift Walk out there to follow it up with the explosive cast, but Peke just didn't quite get the angle for him. He waits until that Rift Force back up, puts another Force Pulse down at him. Very tense exchange between them. We did see LemonNation coming around the backside, making sure there was good ward coverage in there. They know that the Dragon is up in 20 seconds time. Ping ward is in there, and it was LemonNation actually taking some damage from those plants of Yellowstar.
Everyone is going to be around for this next Dragon fight. It is so tense right now, knowing that Sneaky has that Ashe arrow, and he has been an absolute sniper with it throughout the LCS. He's already 1 for 1. He's been holding it very cautiously, and Cloud9 immediately just dumping onto the Dragon as quickly as possible. They're daring Fnatic to come and fight them. Cloud9 wants this one quickly. We could see another steal attempt and maybe a fight.
Cyanide ready and waiting. There's the slide.
It's
not quite ready.
Got it
the
again.
snipe comes in. LemonNation's taken very low though. Sneaky also off the side. Stand United going to come in. Yellowstar does manage to pick up 1 kill. Hai getting focused on. Hai is going to go down to the back there. Pushu's still low, but you can see he's putting damage down towards Balls. Cyanide is going to come out of this one. Rift Walk comes up from Peke. Peke goes deep, but it's a little too deep. Meteos will be able to take him down. No! Rift Walks away! And would you believe it? They do still get Peke down. Balls taken low, sOAZ may feel fancy this one, but it is very close. It's a 3 for 2. Now they keep it on. A good cocoon on towards sOAZ. Have they got the damage to get on towards him? A Shadow Dash from Balls will be enough to finish him off. Forces him to get away. The Claw of Doom manages to help him escape. Such a tight fight. It's Cloud9 on top.
That fight could not have been closer. 3 people died for Cloud9, 2 for Fnatic, but the gold value of the Dragon for Cloud9 gives them the slightest of edges in that fight. But I can't even call it a complete win, because 2 kills went to Puszu on Corki. His Trinity Force has been completed, and that was just scary as far as the fight goes. At the very start of this, LemonNation, because of the long duration of the silence and then the knockup, he didn't even get crescendo off. At that point, both these teams actually played this fight very well. Sneaky was not damaged on while Balls was coming in with the Shen ultimate, and Peke waited until the last second. This is so close. Meteos stunned right there, baiting Peke in for the long. Then the red buff actually ended up ticking Peke down once he was through the wall. Everything in this fight was extremely back and forth. All at the end, Meteos nearly finished off sOAZ as well, if it wasn't for the last second of his Lissandra E cooldown. This is the game living up to the hype to me right now.
This is indeed 4-3, and off the back of that fight, a lot of items were completed as well. So as you can see, he's got that Abyssal Scepter. We do just see Source Boots coming out from Peke, so again, keeping that mobility going. Hasn't completed any other items. Trinity Force for Puszu. Infinity Edge not quite ready for Sneaky, but you can see it's pretty much done and dusted. And actually, Cloud9 have switched their lanes around. We see Sneaky and LemonNation now in this mid lane. Meteos just waiting in the wings, and it does look like a rotation from Fnatic here. You can see Puszu and Yellowstar going up to mid.
I think for the most part, xPeke was actually becoming a bit of an issue for Hai. And Cloud9's general playstyle has actually been to have Hai become a bit of a split pusher in the mid-game, especially with Gragas, who can clear waves faster. And if someone is going to roam down to try and stop Hai, he's the most likely to be able to escape multiple teleport ganks. So there's a lot of reasons that Cloud9 would have went for a swap like that.
And how do we rate those kills? Because 2 of them went on to Meteos. That's not a bad thing, because Elise can do a lot of damage, but it was Puszu that picked up 2 kills for the AD carry.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing, but it's not great. I think Cloud9 would have much rather had those kills onto High or Sneaky. They wanted the upfront damage right now. They might be just roaming around and trying to follow Peke's Kassadin, keeping him down as much as possible. This game is still incredibly close around the 18-minute mark, and the craziest thing, D-Man, is that the turrets still haven't fallen. There is so much inherent threat, I believe, from the teleports that Fnatic can bring, and the Shen ultimate that is now back up again because the Spirit Visage gives it such great cooldown reduction. And on top of everything else, Fnatic is scared of getting caught up by an Ashe.
Well, interesting stuff from Cloud9 here. You can see they've just switched back around and they've shoved both lanes. You saw that High was trying to keep Puszu busy, was shoving that lane back in there. Peke will go back to that lane, and again, we see back down towards the bottom, but Puszu and Yellowstar have joined them there, but Sneaky and LemonNation, they just shove that wave straight up there so he can get their Infinity Edge completed.
Yep, that was a bit of a risky shove, to be quite honest, because there were no large objectives up, and considering Fnatic's playstyle is generally the wait and see for the enemy to expose themselves and then go for it, but Cloud9 actually hasn't done that frequently this game. I'd say the only time Fnatic got that 1 kill was onto LemonNation 10 minutes ago in the top lane.
So, top lane, speaking of that, we haven't seen a great deal of it. We do see sOAZ backing, so we'll see what he comes out with. Or is he going to get let back to go? Yes, he is. Simply balls, he's just going to get that ward out there to get a little bit of coverage. Sneaky and LemonNation back in this bottom lane. Infinity Edge now completed along with those Berserker Greaves, along with Source Boots though for Puszu with that Trinity Force. So we'll see whether these decide to bump heads as Sneaky shoves in. They're going to get a lot of damage on this turret before Puszu gets back here.
Yeah, they have to fear the teleports as well, along with the wave clear of Puszu. And just to talk a bit about the item builds, both of these teams are really building in ways that I agree with heavily. Meteos, who is normally an offensive-minded jungler and often would go magic penetration on Elise, rushed a Locket of the Iron Solari because he knows the team needs magic resist auras to deal with all of the magic damage coming out from Fnatic. First turret of the game comes as a small result of that.
First turret of the game does go down, but we see sOAZ doing the exact same in the top lane. So all square.
Dead
once
even.
Again, still just slightest advantages. This middle turret, High is definitely going to get this one down before anyone could react to it. We see Peke coming in. Force Ball's not going to pick up that gold. He's going to have to back off from this one. He's not going to be able to get that wave. He's trying to get that Force Balls back up. They might go aggressive here. Cyanide's going to get caught out. Arrow comes through, catches on Peke. They didn't focus targeting though. The barrel has been used already. The Ignite is available from High. He's going to go aggressive. Is he going to have enough? No, he's not. Just down the side though, we see Yellowstar going down. It was Sneaky that managed to pick up the kill.
And Cloud9 just stacked so much crowd control that the highly mobile Fnatic was caught effectively in place. Yellowstar tried to defend, and this could be a continued push here for Cloud9. sOAZ does have teleport, and Fnatic has one back to the base. Balls could also join to create a 5-man squad for Cloud9 if they so choose.
A fast-paced turn of aggression from Cloud9. They had the read of Fnatic there. Seemed to work out very well from them. Peke was just completely caught off the side. Cloud9 immediately reacting on simply taking that bottom turret, rotating around and just shoving Fnatic down in that mid lane. High was ready and waiting to go, but the dragon has spawned and they're all ready for it.
Yeah, I gotta say, this game is an absolute pleasure to watch, and right now Fnatic has an edge in this dragon fight because they have the ultimates, whereas Cloud9 used them for the turret and the 1 kill. Even High's ultimate is not up, but Cloud9 doesn't care!
Puszu gets focused on, he has to get away. He's actually tanking up the dragon. sOAZ hasn't used that ultimate yet. He's gonna lock down LemonNation. LemonNation with no mana at all, but look at this. Round the backside, Puszu getting locked in, forced to flash away. We can see Meteos continue to chase on through. He may be the death of him. Yes, he will. sOAZ in the meantime, he comes around. He is going to get one down, but look at that. Sneaky once again gets the kill this time on Peke. sOAZ though comes in. He takes down High in the mid. LemonNation getting taken low, gets dunked on by Cyanide. Yellowstar off the back. sOAZ goes down. LemonNation goes down. It's a 2-for-2. The arrow on towards Yellowstar. He's so low on hit points. He's going to get locked up. It will be another. It's a double kill for Balls. Cyanide now. He's in trouble. He's not going to be able to escape this one, surely. The slow arrow from Sneaky does catch him down. Hawkshot's going to give his vision away. Balls is ready and waiting to chase. But it's not going to be. It's a 3-for-3.
Wow.
What a fight.
These fights
Dragon didn't even go down.
Absolute chaos. No, because Cloud9 engaged before a possible smite war could even happen. Sneaky wasn't even in range at the start of that fight. Cloud9 started that fight without having their big cooldowns up. And now they're trying to finish Dragon on top of a pink ward. How quickly can Peke and the rest of Fnatic get there to push them off of this dragon?
Teleport coming in. It is going to be sOAZ that joins it, and they forced the back away from that one already. But the rest of Cloud9,
never ends.
They're getting close. It's going to be all for this dragon once again.
Well, let's wait on the cooldowns once again. High's explosive cask is up. This time, LemonNation has crescendo. We look across to Fnatic. The only ultimates they're missing are Lissandra's and Jarvan's. Look out, LemonNation.
LemonNation getting caught out there. Has to use the crescendo. It's not going to be enough. High getting locked up now. The dragon will go down, but that's going to be High going down in the background. They could collapse on towards Cloud9 here. You can see just off the top of the screen, you see Peke moving around. Puszu is there as well, just off the side. They're not going to collapse. Cloud9 is safe. It was 2 kills for one dragon.
That was absolute split decision by Cloud9, and we very rarely see that against them. That is the chaos that Fnatic creates as a team, and they're waiting in the right brush, catching ball.
Ball's getting locked up. Stranglethorns comes out. He's already used that Shadow Dash. Meteos doing what he can, but he may get locked up as well. The whole of Fnatic coming on towards him. He does get away. sOAZ is going to follow it through. Puszu comes in. He gets the kill. It's a 4-0-4 Corki.
And that is the legendary Fnatic rotations that we talk about. Cloud9 thought they could take a shortcut to defending their middle turret, thinking Fnatic had pulled off after getting 2 kills and taken it at that. But that is not the way Fnatic thinks. They get you when you least expect it, and that gets them 2 kills as well as the turret, and effectively evens this game once again.
So, look at the goal. Just 500 between the teams. Didn't get much closer. 25 minutes almost gone, and as you mentioned, Jack, this game almost certainly living up to the hype. North America's #1 versus Europe's #1. And it is going to be a battle for the ages, I feel, because neither team wants to edge up on this one. Let's take stock of the situation, because Puszu came out quite big after that fight.
Yeah, Puszu is going to be shredding some people right now, finishing his Bloodthirster and effectively pulling ahead of Sneaky in items. I do believe that Trinity Force and Bloodthirster is a greater item threshold than iEdge and Static Shiv right now, but mainly we need to focus on Peke and sOAZ, because that is the chase machine of Fnatic. That is the thing that really makes them tick. Puszu will be there for the cleanup, as usual, and his score will continue to rise if Fnatic is to win this game. But what really matters is Peke's Kassadin and sOAZ's Lissandra. If they can close through and stop Sneaky, which as an immobile carry in Ashe is very possible, it could be lights out for Cloud9. I mean, Fnatic has made it through the laning phase for Kassadin, even though that was expected since he was matched up against Gragas. We've seen this story before.
Oh, look at this maneuvering coming out. Cloud9 was stacking up for the top of Fnatic, who quickly rotated around. They want to shove straight for the inner turret.
And Cloud9 is actually going to take part of this trade. There's a bit of indecision coming from them again. Fnatic might wait in the brush here. They're at the very least getting 1 turret, maybe more. Cloud9 splitting up once again.
This is not a pace race they want for sure from Fnatic. They're not done here because they still see 2 members backing off the top lane. They could go straight for the inhibitor turret.
They will. They're going to go right for this. There's still an Ashe and a Sona in the lane. They just got back to base. The turret goes down. Now Cloud9 engages.
They go for Peke, and he's not really the right target because the Stranglethorns is going to bounce Meteos up. That's going to be High going down. Massive kill for Fnatic here. See, Sneaky, he's going to get dropped as well. Crescendo simply saves their lives. It takes Cyanide down, but 4 members of Fnatic are still alive in the base, and 3 members of Cloud9 are already dead. Cloud9
was so indecisive in that, and Fnatic was not. They engaged before LemonNation and Sneaky had arrived in that fight, and the comboing of Fnatic wrecked Cloud9.
Simple position in there from Fnatic. Fantastic stuff. Seemed to work out well for them. It's edged them ahead in the goal, but let's not get carried away. It's only 1,000 difference. Let's check this.
Yeah, the big thing here is High's ultimate did not disperse Fnatic the way they wanted to. At the start of this fight, they wanted the Gragas barrel to disengage so Sneaky could catch up, but by the time Sneaky arrived, half the team was already dead. Peke was completely in chase mode, so was sOAZ, and they were able to just chase down, finish off the people, and get the inhibitor.
And we talked about the crowd control link that Cloud9 did on Cyanide there. Check that. That was a grasping route into a Stranglethorn, into sOAZ's ultimate. High and Meteos just could not do anything about that fight.
No, despite Meteos' having defense, and this is just Fnatic having control of the map. Peke is actually stacking up his Riftwalk. The next time someone comes through, he's going to get a face full of Kassadin.
We want to get that force pulse higher, and I think it's LemonNation that they're looking for. Peke, though, they're going to look closing on towards Meteos. He's going to get locked up. He was doing so well at the start, but it seems that the Fnatic machine, where are you going to go? Is it going to be enough? Stand United is going to come out. They're going to back away from this one. High goes aggressive on towards sOAZ. Has he got the damage? The explosive cast comes out. Oh, forceful. He's gone too deep. Peke may call himself out here. Cyanide slides in. Peke. Rift walks away. And Cloud9 and Fnatic exchange blows, but nobody goes down.
Cloud9 really needed to pick up some kills there because that was catching Fnatic out of position and landing an Ashe arrow square into the face of xPeke. But even though it's only a 1,000 lead, Fnatic is up more than that. Just based on the way these fights are happening, based on the ward control they have acquired, and considering that there is an inhibitor down for Cloud9. Cloud9 is on the absolute defensive right now. And from what we've seen, Fnatic loves being ahead in these games. Knowing they have the double teleport to completely contain the position of Cloud9 means this lead is a lot more than 1,000 gold.
And let's not forget, Peke likes the back door. They can't leave anything open. We see him down the bottom. He's going to shove down this bottom lane turret. I don't think Cloud9 are going to do anything to defend against this one. 14-8 the kills, 4-3 turrets. That's going to swing to 5-3 in just a moment as Peke keeps on pushing that bottom lane. Dragon will be up in 30 seconds. And there's still concerns for me from Cloud9 on Puszu because he's at 6-0-5 now. They need to try and lock him down in those fights.
Here's the thing, though. Puszu is mainly cleanup. He's doing a whole bunch of damage, but it's more than that. It's all about Peke.
Oh, they're not going to let him go.
Finishing people off. High has to burn Flash away from this one. It seems like Fnatic has enough position that they just want to take out the Dragon because Cloud9 is paranoid with positioning around the Baron Pit and trying to clean up wards then. Fnatic, once again, seems to be one step ahead of Cloud9.
The positioning seems
look how
sOAZ
Sneaky
is going to go for it. He's going to catch on towards Sneaky. He's going to get saved. No, he's not. Peke comes in, turns him out there. Can they get the turret on the way out? I'm not too sure. The explosive cast was already used. We saw it further on. And Fnatic again, just out-positioning Cloud9.
And it's because their champions are positioned to do so. Lissandra and Kassadin are pretty core Fnatic champions as far as being able to teleport right where they want and blow someone up before they have a chance to go back. Sneaky actually burned his flash and his barrier for that, but it did not matter. And this is the fear for Cloud9 when they were against this composition, is if Peke and sOAZ would get to go where they want, there's not a real way of Sneaky dealing with that. Sneaky's still trying to build up armor penetration right now, but he's just dying.
Yeah, that last Whisper is getting there slowly but surely. Meanwhile, Banshee's Veil has been completed by Puszu, so he's got a little bit defensive on his third item. We'll see how that works out. Obviously, worried about those arrows potentially coming out from Sneaky. They've certainly been on point. The question is, can the damage now follow up after it? Fnatic have effectively stacked out a lot of damage items. Seraph Embrace just completed by Peke. Rabnar's Death Cap was picked up by High, so he is potential to blow someone up. The question is, can he get that free time on them? Yeah,
it would have to be a pretty key combo right now, and knowing that there's actually a bit of magic resist on Fnatic as well, it becomes much more difficult.
Wow.
Peke's split pushing with teleport as well, and like, there's not a good way right now for Cloud9 to regain position over this Baron buff, just knowing the absolute mobility that Fnatic has right now. Cloud9 did have it for a second, but then Fnatic has caught them in 3v4s, 5v3s, 2v4s, too many times now. And it effectively means that even the 5v5, if Fnatic is down 2 combat spells because they have double teleport, it might not be enough for Cloud9.
Let's see how much damage Peke can put down. Not a great deal on balls right now. It seems he's just managed to lifesteal a lot of that back. sOAZ, though, he's got that Zhonya's Hourglass completed, and I fear that may well spell a certain dive for Fnatic. They're not going to be too afraid to go straight in on Cloud9 the next time they meet. And you can see it's actually Cyanide being so aggressive around that red buff area. He's been looking for a fight around there for some time.
Yeah, Fnatic is really just waiting to find their next big opportunity, and I think it's going to come fairly shortly. Cloud9 continues to come in to their jungle and attempt to regain vision control. That is just giving Fnatic multiple opportunities to try and pounce. Peke's now roamed back around to the mid lane. He might be coming in around behind Cloud9, and at the very least, Cloud9's going to have to either give up this outer turret or stand and fight.
Well, let's not forget that inhibitor is completely exposed. There's minions on it right now, and Cloud9 realize they're going to have to try and defend this one. They have come around. There's only a couple of hits left on it from Puszu. Be surprised if they stick around on
Meteos
this one.
is up really far.
Just off the round, there's the Hawk shot. They realize the danger. Peke does come in, doesn't get the slow. Meteos is going to land back in there. Are they going to go for him? They do lock him down. Stun United has been used. Fnatic are just going to back straight out. There's going to be a good catch on towards Cyanide. He's taking a lot of damage. He may go down from this one, but the rest of Cloud9 have gone a little too deep for it. Meteos is going to get taken down. Balls is the next focus target. sOAZ comes in. Good crescendo from LemonNation. Blows sOAZ in there. Pops that ultimate straight off though. Peke picks up one. Peke going to close in towards LemonNation. He's going to be the next focus target. There it is. The Rift Walk Force Pulse straight on towards High. Going to be next. Sneaky goes down off the side. Peke's going to roam in. There's the triple kill. And it's Fnatic. Cleanup duty. That's an ace.
Just destroyed Cloud9 in that one. They got them into the fight because Meteos was honestly trying to pick it, and that is the way both of these teams play. Cloud9 does not let themselves get starved out, and Fnatic knows how to finish.
That is surely the game now for Fnatic. Game 1 of the quarterfinals as the Season 3 World Championships will go to Europe's Fnatic. They have struck first blood on North America's Cloud9. This is still a very tight battle, I feel, though, because that game went close for 25 minutes.
Yeah, even though this one ended in 33 minutes, it was not because it was one-sided by any means. Cloud9 was going blow for blow with Fnatic for the majority of this game, but in the end, it was those unconventional, almost annoying looking rotations that Fnatic always is able to pull off. They caught Cloud9